Welcome to today's Explainer. Dancing snakes, financial sense, and the Golgappa ego battle. We are jumping right in today, guys. If you love pulling real-world lessons out of completely unexpected, frankly hilarious situations, you are absolutely in the right place. We're looking at a crazy blend of wild nature, some really hard-hitting financial truths, and that super relatable family drama we all know so well. It goes from sheer panic to profound life advice in literally minutes. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's set the scene here. What exactly do you do when two massive snakes start dancing behind your house? Picture this. You're just going about your normal day, minding your own business, and boom. Someone spots not one, but two absolutely massive snakes right behind the house. And, get this, they aren't just slithering past. They are locked together, swaying, and literally dancing in the grass. It is a full-blown wildlife documentary playing out right in your backyard. You can practically feel the panic in the house. People are shouting, running around to get a look, trying to figure out what on earth to do next. Talk about a disruption to a peaceful afternoon, right?
So naturally, the family does what any of us would do. They call the local snake catchers. But man, this is where the whole thing turns into pure comedy. The snake catchers hear that there are two snakes and that they're, dancing, and they just flat out refuse to come. They basically tell the family, look, if they're together and doing their dance, we are not going anywhere near them. When their dance is over, then we will come. Unbelievable. So the family is just stuck. They're trapped on the sidelines, waiting for this bizarre 30-minute reptile dance routine to wrap up before the pros will even step foot on the property.
Well, once the dance finally does end, the chaos really hits the fan. The snakes separate, one heads straight towards a neighbor's house, and the other, it slithers directly into the family's own sewer line. The family is terrified, obviously. They're thinking a snake is going to pop out inside the house at any second. But right in the middle of all this sheer panic, local photographers start showing up. I'm serious. They start treating the neighborhood like it's a safari, excitedly snapping these high-quality photos of the snakes while the family is literally just trying to survive. The contrast here, the panicked family versus these thrilled, trigger-happy photographers, is just wonderfully absurd. Now, right in the middle of all this neighborhood panic, there's this fantastic moment of levity from the mom of the house. In Indian culture, there's this super famous cinematic trope of the Nag-Nagan. Basically, this mythical, magical, vengeful snake couple that will hunt you down if you mess with them. Someone actually suggests that's what's happening, but the mom, she just completely shuts it down. She humorously points out, no, these aren't mythical creatures plotting revenge, they are just Mia Bivi, a regular, everyday husband and wife just having a moment. It's such a perfectly grounded observation. It instantly cuts through all the tension and just makes everyone laugh. Section 2, From Chaos to Control, the Financial Mastermind. We are pivoting here from the uncontrollable, wild chaos outside to the calm, strategic environment inside the house. Because while the neighborhood is totally reeling from the snake invasion, we actually get a look at the real engine running this family's success. This brings us to Avantika. She's the quiet financial mastermind of the household, and she drops some really profound lessons on how wealth is actually built and maintained. This perfectly illustrates the two totally different types of financial genius happening under one roof. On the left, you've got Saurav, the content creator. His superpower is taking, say, a 1,000 rupee purchase and turning it into a video that generates returns 100 times over. He understands content ROI like nobody's business. But on the right side, that is Avantika's domain, real, actual wealth management. Saurav openly admits he had no idea how to grow money before her. Avantika has this critical skill of taking 1 lakh rupees and strategically growing it into 3 lakhs. It's a completely different ballgame. And let's look at that number, 300,000 rupees, or 3 lakhs. That represents the true power of compound growth and smart investing. And you really gotta love Saurav's humility here. He points out that, he might be the face of the operation, bringing in the initial cash, but Avantika, she's the true businessman. She takes those raw earnings and turns them into actual long-term security. Making money and managing money are two totally different skill sets, guys, and you absolutely need both to really thrive. And that brings us to this crucial quote. Saurav delivers a really passionate, direct message to the audience here. He's saying, look, financial literacy just isn't taught in schools, period. It's often treated like this taboo subject we shouldn't talk about. But he argues, fiercely, that money is exactly what gives you the facilities and security you need in life. Quote, parents must teach this. We have to normalize talking about money with kids, teaching them how to turn 1,000 rupees into 2,000. It's just a fantastic, powerful call to action for all of us watching. All right, Section 3, the battle of the ego, Kunali and the Golgappa. Let's transition from that deep financial wisdom to our final and, frankly, my favorite heartwarming segment. We're zooming in on a universally relatable family dynamic, a stubborn child's pride. Let's look at young Kunali and the great Golgappa standoff.
So here is the step-by-step anatomy of a child's ego. Step 1. Kunali gets scolded by his uncle for messy handwriting and spelling mistakes in his Hindi homework. Step 2. His feelings are hurt. His pride is totally wounded. So when the family orders his absolute favorite street food, Golgappas, he flat out refuses to eat them. He is standing his ground. Step 3. The whole family starts teasing him, trying to break him down, and you can see him fighting this losing battle against the secret smile. He wants to laugh so bad, but he won't let his guard down. And Step 4, the absolute best part. His ego is so massive that when he finally caves, he refuses to eat it properly. He just bites into a completely dry, empty Golgappa shell just to prove a point. You really can't make this up.
Which leads to this incredibly funny intervention. Saurav literally has to stop him and define what a Golgappa actually is. He tells Kunali, look, it's not a dry biscuit. You don't just crunch into an empty shell. It requires the holy trinity of fillings to actually be a Golgappa. You need the mashed potatoes, that tangy spiced water, and the sweet chutney. Watching a dad try to seriously teach a pouting, stubborn kid the exact mechanics of eating street food, it's just this perfect, endearing moment that completely shatters the tension in the room.
Looking at the timeline here, it's amazing how fast these family storms pass, right? Evening hits, there are tears over homework. Nighttime rolls around, and it's a massive ego battle over snacks. But then, later on, Grandma steps in. Because of course she does. She vows to scold the dad and the uncle in retaliation for making Kunali cry. That unconditional grandma support is all it takes. By bedtime, the ego is totally defeated, the tears are gone, and Kunali is happily tapping away playing games on an iPad like literally nothing ever happened. It just perfectly captures that chaotic, loving rhythm of family life. So that brings us to our final thought. Today, we watch the family navigate the sheer unpredictability of dancing snakes in their backyard, and then turn around and expertly diffuse the stubborn ego of a child. Doing both takes patience, it takes observation, and yeah, a bit of strategy. But the most important strategy we uncovered today? That was Avantika's quiet financial mastery working behind the scenes. So I'll leave you with this question. If we can handle the wild daily chaos of nature and family drama, isn't it about time we apply that same focus to mastering our own financial management? Take that lesson with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer and keep learning.